بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا مزيدا إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. This is our fourth class on the explanation of the chapter on Siyam from the book Zad al-Mustaqni'. And so far we left off yesterday, we discussed and we said there's two means or methods to know the start and the end of Ramadan. And not only Ramadan, it's actually all our Islamic months. The first one is by sighting the moon. If we see the moon, then the next day it's Ramadan or the new month. If not, whether the sky is clear or cloudy, we finish the month off and we can't see the moon. We finish the month off to 30 days, then the following day is the beginning of the new month. That's all the methods that we follow that are backed by proof in how Ramadan begins and ends. However, we left off yesterday saying that it appears that the author of this book is trying to hint or make a distinction between when the sky is clear and when it's cloudy. Why? Where do we get that from? Where's the hint at? The statement that we left off yesterday said, if you go and sight the moon on a clear sky, and you don't see it, then you fast the following, you don't fast the following day, nor is it Ramadan, which is a good statement. But he said, مع صحو. If the sky, he specified, if the sky is clear at night, you don't see the moon, you don't fast the next day. That's considered the 30th day of Sha'ban. Then the following day after that is the first day of Ramadan. It's clear, it's to the point, and it's backed by proof. Now, our next sentence that we want to do today is where there's a problem. وَإِنْ حَالَ دُونَهُ وَإِنْ حَالَ دُونَهُ أي دون هلال رمضان غيم أو قطر فظاهر المذهب يجب صومه. فظاهر المذهب يجب صومه. The author is saying, if you can't see the moon on a cloudy night, or if there's a sandstorm, or other reason, then the next day you must fast. He mentions in his statement, he says غيم, which غيم means cloud, if it's cloudy. And then he mentions qatarun, which is something like a sandstorm. Did we see the moon? The first means of how we learn the month begins, we didn't see the moon. Did we finish off Sha'ban 30 days? No. So why are we fasting then? It appears like the author developed a third way of how Ramadan begins. And we said there's only two ways. This statement by the author is not accurate, even though it's a statement, a scholarly statement, and a lot of ulama adopted it. But it's not accurate, and it's not backed by proof. In fact, the proof goes against the statement. There's several opinions on this matter. The first two are the major and most important ones, and the ones we need to know. But let me repeat the issue before I discuss the opinions, because if you don't know the issue, the underlying issue that we're talking about, you're not going to understand the opinions. The 29th day of Sha'ban, after Maghrib, it's the 30th night of Sha'ban. We explained that. That's the night we go out to look for the moon. We go out, it's cloudy, it's foggy, there's a sandstorm. There's a barrier between us and the moon somehow. The author said, since the sky is not clear, then we must fast the next day. even if we don't sight the moon. We didn't sight the moon, we didn't complete the month of 30 days. He said because it's not a clear sky, we have to fast the next day, which is in reality the 30th day of Sha'ban. Now let's go through the opinions. The first opinion, the overwhelming majority of the ulama, and I say the overwhelming majority, that means it's beyond even the 4 imams, it's more than that. And among them is, in this opinion, is Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and one of 2 opinions by the Hanbali madhab. And this is the correct opinion. If we don't see the moon on the 29th day, which is the 30th night of Sha'ban, we don't fast the following day. We try to sight the moon on the 30th night of Sha'ban. Whether it's cloudy, whether it's foggy, whether it's rainy, whether there's a sandstorm, whether it's clear. If we don't see the moon, we don't fast the next day. That's the end of it. The next day will be the 30th day of Sha'ban because we didn't see the moon, regardless of whether the sky is clear or not. And then after the 30th day, it will be the first day of Ramadan after that. And like I said, it doesn't matter whether the sky is clear or not clear. We try to see the moon. If we don't see it, then the following day is the 30th day of Sha'ban. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah adopted this opinion. And he said this is the opinion of the Hanbali madhab. He attributed that to the Hanbali madhab. Even though, like I told you, some claim that this book is the authority on the Hanbali madhab. Ibn Taymiyyah said in this issue, it's that we don't distinguish between a clear or unclear sky. And then he said there's no foundation that Imam Ahmad distinguished between a clear and unclear sky. And I remember maybe 2 decades or so ago, I had a report that I had to do, and I researched this matter in the mother books of the Hanbali madhab, and I really couldn't find a clear statement by Imam Ahmad himself saying that it's wajib to fast the 30th day of Sha'ban when it's a cloudy night. Now what's their opinion? Yes, it's the majority opinion. Keep in mind, we don't go by majority opinion just because it's a majority opinion. There are many opinions. In this matter, they happen to be correct. They happen to have strong proof. There's many opinions in fiqh where the majority of the ulama take the wrong opinion and the minority are on the correct opinion. However, over here, like we said, the majority opinion is what the ulama stated and mentioned. What's their proof? The first proof is what we took yesterday. These people are saying you're fasting the day of doubt. And the Messenger ﷺ said, لا تقدموا رمضان بصوم يوم ولا يومين. Remember the hadith we took? None of you should fast a day or 2 before Ramadan. Unless, of course, what we said, it's a day, and this is part of the hadith. Unless it's a day where one has a habitual fasting, voluntary fasting that happens to coincide with that day, or those last 2 days of Sha'ban. This is a hadith in Bukhari and Muslim. So when you tell people, they're saying, the majority of the ulama are saying, when you tell people to fast the day before Ramadan because it's cloudy, you're in reality telling them to fast the day of doubt. Because the moon hasn't been sighted. You don't know if the moon is there or not. You're in doubt. And then you're telling them to fast the day of doubt. This boils down to being the day of doubt that we spoke about yesterday. And we said the selected opinion on the day of doubt is it's haram to fast it. Here the author is saying you must fast it. In this kind of circumstance and situation. He's not saying day of doubt, you must fast the day of doubt. He's saying when the sky is cloudy and you can't see the moon, then you have to fast it. So the second proof is the hadith in Bukhari by Ammar ibn Yasir when he said, whoever fasts the day of doubt has disobeyed Abu al-Qasim, the kunya of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the second proof. The third proof is in Bukhari and it says, if it's cloudy, look at that. If it's cloudy and you can't see the moon, then complete the month 30 days. Look how clear that hadith is. This hadith is solid in Bukhari. It's clear. It can't be put in any more clear words in regards to this issue. Not only is it a day of doubt, but it's actually, like the first two proofs that we mentioned, but it's actually going against this clear hadith where the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if it's cloudy, complete the month of Sha'ban for 30 days. Did the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, if it's cloudy, go fast the next day as a day of doubt? No. He said, if it's cloudy, complete the month 30 days. Clear. Now the fourth proof is, the majority of the ulama said, the hadith, أَلَا هَلَكَ الْمُتَنَطِّعُونَ. Let the extremists perish. The Messenger said it 3 times. And the ulama here are saying it's too extreme to be ordering people to fast because it's merely a cloudy day, while we're not even sure if that day is Ramadan or not. So they said that's too extreme, and that's going too extreme in ibadah. The fifth proof, the rule in usul is that you don't go from that which you're sure about, you're in yaqeen, to that which you're in doubt in. What are we sure about and what are we in doubt in? We know for sure we're in Sha'ban. We're for sure in Sha'ban. There's a doubt. There's a possibility tomorrow may be Ramadan because the sky is cloudy. You don't leave that which you're sure in, which is the month of Sha'ban, to that which you're in doubt in. Now after we finish the 30th day, then we're for sure done with Sha'ban, and now Ramadan starts. That's the first opinion, with their 5 proofs. The second opinion is what the author adopted here. And notice, the first opinion is the Hanbali madhab opinion. And the second opinion is the Hanbali madhab opinion. In fact, like we said, this is considered by some an authority book on the Hanbali madhab. And this is, it's considered like a final book on the Hanbali madhab, in which the opinions are the adopted opinions of the Hanbali madhab. So those who blind follow the Hanbali madhab, which one are you going to take? There are 2 opposite contradicting opinions within the Hanbali madhab. If you're a blind follower, which one of the 2 opinions you take? Now this is the opinion selected by the author. If we don't, he's saying, if you don't see the moon on the 29th day, which is the 30th night of Sha'ban, he said, if it's cloudy, the cloud prevents us from seeing the moon, and it turns out to be cloudy, then we fast the next day. They included in that, not just if it's cloudy. In his statement in the book, he also stated if it's a sandstorm. But also the madhab, some of the scholars in the madhab also state if it's foggy, or if someone's supposedly in a cave and he can't see the moon, or if someone is a prisoner and can't see the moon, or if someone happens to be blindfolded, they all fall under this category. They said what you do is you fast the 30th day of Sha'ban, which in reality amounts, like we said, to nothing more than fasting a day of doubt. If it turns out to be a day of Ramadan, they said, then that's good. You're in good shape. And if it turns out not to be a day of Ramadan, then you got reward. That's exactly what a day of doubt is. Now what's their proof? They didn't come out and say we're going to fast the day of doubt. They didn't say that. But in reality, their opinion means that. They also have proof because these are ulama. Their proof over here is, number 1, they use the hadith, if you can't see the moon, then work it out. In Arabic it's فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. And that was an issue and a different opinion that we already took. They went to the linguistic definition of فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. فَقْدُرُوا. They looked it up linguistically. They said فَقْدُرُوا means limit or tighten or shorten. They said so, the Messenger ﷺ said, if you don't see the moon, فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ, shorten. So because it's unclear, the sky is cloudy, we'll go to the linguistic definition and we'll shorten Sha'ban to be in 29 days. How do we respond to that? The response to that is very simple. Even if we assume your linguistic definition is good, we'll give you that. We'll say فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ means to shorten or limit. We don't need to resort to linguistic definitions when the Messenger ﷺ defined it in many other different narrations. There's many hadith that we went over already where the Messenger taught us what فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ means. It means to complete Sha'ban 30 days. There's many other hadith where the Messenger ﷺ explained that. That's the first proof. The second proof that they used is actually a stronger proof. They said in Musnad Ahmad and Sunan Abu Dawood, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, on days when the sky would be cloudy, if it's the 30th night of Sha'ban and it's cloudy, he would fast the following day. So their opinion is supported by the action of Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma. Now the response to the action of Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma is that the action of Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma goes against the hadith he himself narrated. What's that hadith? The hadith that I mentioned to you, the third one, which is the third proof for the first opinion. If it's cloudy and you can't see the moon, then finish off Sha'ban as 30 days. The narrator of that hadith, it's on the authority of Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma. However, Ibn Umar adopted the opinion to fast the day of, which would be defined as a day of doubt, when it's cloudy. Take this rule. When there's a conflict, and you'll see that a lot in fiqh, when there's a conflict between a narrator's action, like here, and his narration that he narrated, we go by what he narrated. The precedent is to what he narrated. We go by what he narrated. And in fact, the Sahaba, through their actions, supported the narration of Ibn Umar. They didn't support the act of Ibn Umar. Through their method, they supported what Ibn Umar narrated. Ibn Umar radiallahu anh did it as a precaution. And the ulama of the first opinion said, he's not to be followed in a matter like this, where there's clear proof against what he did, when in fact the proof is narrated by he himself. Just like Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu used to do precaution and wash the inside of his eyes, which eventually resulted in the loss of his eyesight towards the end of his life. The ulama don't follow him on that. They don't follow him on that and do as a precaution washing the inside of their eyes when they make wudu. So he's not followed on this matter. In a matter like this, the ulama of the first opinion said, we follow what he narrated, not what he did. And if anyone claims to fast the day of doubt when it's cloudy as a precaution, they claim to fast the day of doubt on a cloudy night due to precaution, then the answer to that is precaution in a matter like that is to leave that kind of precaution. Precaution in a matter like that is to leave that sort of precaution. The third opinion, we took two opinions. Now the third opinion is also a weak opinion, is they said it's permissible or sunnah to fast, but it's not fard. The author in this book said it's fard. The third opinion, they said, no, we'll say it's not fard, but rather it's permissible or sunnah. The fourth opinion is they said it's disliked. But it's not haram. It's disliked, but it's not haram to fast it. And we discussed already whether it's disliked or haram to fast the day of doubt. The fifth opinion, some said we go according to what the Imam Khalifa states. Actually, that's in reality a solution to many of our problems and problems like this. There was a Khalifa and he declared and chose a certain opinion in matters like this. It's within his discretion. And the Ummah should obey him in matters like this. Now that's the fifth opinion. The sixth opinion, some said we go back and check. We go back 2 years and check. If the last 2 years were 30 days, in 30 days, we fasted the last year 30 days, and the year before that 30 days, then we'll declare this year 29 days. That's, some rationale, but that's 6 opinions. The most important ones is the first and the second, because they each one of them has proof. So in summary, the correct opinion is that it is haram, it's prohibited to fast the day before Ramadan because you claim it's cloudy and you're not sure if the moon is there or not. You can't fast that day. That's considered a day of doubt. We mentioned 5 proofs for the first opinion, and in the second opinion, we responded to their proofs. When we stated their strong proof, their strongest proof is the action of Ibn Umar, and we said we go by what Ibn Umar narrated, not by what he did in a matter like this. In simple, in clear terms, the signs of Ramadan start by sighting the moon. If we don't see the moon, we complete Sha'ban, 30 days, regardless of whether the sky is cloudy or not. That's right there is the summary of what we took. Okay. The author goes on to say, فَظَاهِرُ الْمَذْهَبِ يَجِبُ صَوْمُ. He concludes on this issue saying, فَظَاهِرُ الْمَذْهَبِ يَجِبُ صَوْمُ. He's saying it appears from the madhab that it's wajib to fast if it's cloudy, even if we don't sight the moon. The author himself here worded that and that conclusion on this matter in a very unusual way. He said, ظاهر المذهب. It's apparent or seems apparent from the madhab that you have to fast that. And it's a statement he rarely uses, ظاهر المذهب. The ulama said he worded it like this because this is, as we said, a summarized method, short, brief. And he can't elaborate. This is not a book to elaborate. So he wanted to indicate and hint that there's strong dissent on this matter within the madhab. So the author is basically, in a way, admitting to a dissent within the own madhab on this issue. Many tried to find excuses for the author and those who follow this opinion on making it obligatory to fast a day which in reality is defined as a day of doubt, when the sky is not clear. They tried to find excuses by saying he didn't mean, or they didn't mean it's wajib that you must do. They just meant it's recommended or it's permitted or it's better, but they didn't mean it's wajib. And the reason they tried to find excuses is because this is somewhat dangerous for ulama to declare a day of fasting to be wajib when the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam in reality considered it haram. I spent a little bit of time on this and I elaborated on this because it's good to see how the ulama think and how they dispute, how they go back and forth with their proof. And it's also a detailed matter on fasting, the day of doubt, when it's cloudy. That issue right there, it may seem simple and it may seem clear actually when we look and analyze the proof, but believe it or not, there's actually books written on this matter. Abu Ya'la wrote out on it, and Abdul Hadi did. Ibn al-Jawzi, in fact, wrote about it too. So it's an important issue, and it gets you to understand how fiqh is. Now the author went on to say, وَإِن رُؤِيَ نَهَارًا فَهُوَ لِلَّيْلَةِ الْمُقْبِلَةِ وَإِن رُؤِيَ نَهَارًا فَهُوَ لِلَّيْلَةِ الْمُقْبِلَةِ. If you see the moon during the day, then that's to declare the following day, the first of Ramadan. If you see it during the day, scientifically speaking, it's clear that the moon can be seen during the day. Science talks about it and it happens, and you yourself by experience could have probably seen the moon certain times during the day. And this is something not only proven scientifically, but it's also discussed in the books of the ulama centuries ago, that what if you see the moon during the day? The scenarios, for example, I'm leaving the masjid or I'm walking outside in the daytime after Dhuhr or Asr and I see the moon. It's possible. Does that 29th day that I seen the moon on become the official day of Ramadan? Meaning, since we seen it during that day, do we say, since I seen it during the day, since I seen it during the day, it was there the night before, yet we didn't see it. So in reality, today marks the first day of Ramadan. That's the first scenario. So what we do, we abstain from food and water for the rest of the day in respect to Ramadan. But then we have to make it up after Ramadan since we didn't have the intention. That's the first scenario. Is that the correct way? Or is it B? Do we say that moon that I seen during the day belongs to the next day? The author is saying that moon you seen during the day means the following day is the first day of Ramadan. You see the moon during the day, the next day, we're talking, if it's nighttime, we already know the answer to that. But we're saying if you've seen it during the day, you've seen it during the day, the following day is Ramadan. That moon, even though you saw that moon during the day, it's to declare the following day, the first day of Ramadan. If you see the moon on the 29th day of Sha'ban during the day, and we say the moon was there the night before, that means you're on the 29th day of Sha'ban. You're saying that moon was there the night before. That makes that month of Sha'ban 28 days. And we don't have 28 days in our calendar. We only have 29 and 30 days. That's what the author was trying to refute by his statement. The overwhelming majority of the ulama, and among them is the 4 imams, is that they adopt the opinion that the author here selected. Whether you see the moon during the day or after Maghrib of that night, after that night, then it's to declare the following day, the first day of Ramadan. That's the point that you have to understand. That's the first point. The second, and that's the opinion of the 4 imams. The second point is the overwhelming majority of the ulama with a slight dispute. The other one doesn't have any dispute that I know of. But this one, the second point here, has a slight dispute. They said it doesn't matter if it's seen before noon or afternoon, with a slight dispute in that issue. So the bottom line is that sighting the moon during the daylight hours of the 29th day of Sha'ban, whether it's noon or afternoon or any time during the day or after Maghrib, means the following day after that is the first day of Ramadan. There's an important issue though. What if we seen it during the day, after Dhuhr, after Asr, then after Maghrib we go to pursue it and look at it and see it, it vanishes, it's not there. We for some reason can't see it no longer after Maghrib. We seen it during the day, but after Maghrib, all night long, we could no longer see it. The rule is, we can't continue to see it after Maghrib, then it's as if we didn't see it at all during the day. Meaning, basically, that sighting you seen during the day is cancelled. Why? Because we were directed to pursue and watch and look at the moon after Maghrib. We were supposed to look at it and see it after Maghrib. We didn't see it after Maghrib. So that means it's not a sighting that we go by. It's not a shar'i sighting that we go by. Because the considered sighting is the one that's after Maghrib. So if we seen it during the day, and then after Maghrib we no longer can see it, then that is as if we didn't see it during the day. The next day would be considered the 30th day of Sha'ban. The author here should have worded the statement more carefully by saying, if you see the moon during the day and it's still there after Maghrib, then it belongs to the next day, meaning the next day is the first day of Ramadan. He should have added some kind of statement saying, while it's still seen after Maghrib, because that's a very important condition that the ulama mentioned. Jazakumullahu khair. If there's any questions.